Hello, Detroit cricket lovers. This is the DCL Talk Show on DCL Radio. Today is 9:13. We just concluded the first week of knockout games, and we are jumping into our quarterfinals. Before we get into our analysis, I would like to say thanks to all those umpires who, did wonderful job. And I know a lot of people have taken a lot of heat from the teams. And a lot of things happen, yet the most sweetest and greatest thing in DCL is any team can win the championship. I mean, that's what I have been seeing for the past at least 4 years. And what happened this weekend is toppers of all three pools were knocked out, and some of the strong teams were knocked out. So to discuss all these things, we have first time after a very long gap, I think, I should not say first time, after a very long gap, the full house is present here. I have a regular analysis, all three regular analysts sitting here, want to give their opinions on past weekend, past games, and give some predictions on next weekend's knockout games. So I'll start with introducing our analysts, and then we will jump into the show. Welcome to the show, Imti.
Thanks, Jagan, and I would like to welcome all our listeners and for this exciting week, the past week and also the coming week. It's an exciting weekend for DCL.
Welcome, KK.
Thanks, Jagan. Welcome all the listeners. Last week we had some exciting contests, and we are done with the pre-quarters now. The 16 teams got reduced to 8, and 8 teams fighting for one championship. So let's see that in this week's show.
Okay, the man missing in the action for the last, couple of months is Jasneet. Welcome back to the show, Jasneet.
Thank you very much, Jagan, and it's great to be back as always. It was a long break, and very excited to be a part of this show again. And I anticipate a lot of fantastic games this weekend, and not to forget some really exciting games that happened last weekend here.
Okay, let's straight away get into the elimination part of all top teams. Like, for example's sake, A, B, C. There are 3 pools, all number 1 ranking teams, and out of those 3, 2 are unbeaten. Okay, they all lost, and I just want to hear it from you guys how you are feeling about these losses. I'll start with Imti. Imti, your thoughts.
Yes, Jagan. I think last week, we saw a lot number of upsets for the playoffs. I think it was like you said, the top 3 teams from the 3 pools getting knocked out in the very first round. That's kind of a big deal, because you expect these teams to go on and progress through the tournament, and like usually who perform well throughout the season would be expected to go on, and one of those teams would be expected to win the championship. But unfortunately, cricket is such a funny game. We always keep telling about it, talk about it, and that's what we saw happening last week. Like at least in my opinion, there were like 4 upsets that what we analysts predicted last week. There were like 4 upsets to those predictions, and in a way, it is good for the tournament. We have some new upcoming teams winning and challenging these championship teams, so that's a good thing. But on the other hand, I think losing out those championship teams in the first round is also disheartening a bit. But I think all in all, it's a good thing happening for DCL, and we'll wait and watch who the winner would be for this season.
Okay, see, before I go to KK, see, I would like to say no team is small team. Do you agree with that one, Vamsi?
Yes, Jagan, definitely. Because once you are in the playoffs, your league stage doesn't matter. how many points you had, how many wins you have, how many losses did you encounter. None of this matters. All that matters is you have 11 people in your team and you have an opposition to play the game against. You win it or you die. That's it. As they say in the Game of Thrones, right? In the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die. Similarly, in DC, either you win or you get eliminated.
Okay.
And yes, what you said, the top three teams got eliminated, but my heart goes out to them because none of these teams have gone down without a fight. You look at two of those games, they went right to the wire. They were finished in the last ball of the game, and the other game went to the 24th over. So it was not a one-sided game. It was not a one-sided affair. So they have played tremendously throughout the season, but on this particular day, their opposition was just better.
Okay. Jesse, your thoughts?
Yeah, I personally do not feel any of the results that happened as an upset, to be honest. This is, to me, this is the time when you have to up your game, when you have to show the best part of your game, and not just as an individual but collectively as a game. If you fail to do so, no matter what match of a playoff you are playing, you're bound to be knocked out if you do not play with your A game. Because when you have while you jump into a well and you know that there is rope tied in your waist, there is always a feeling that no matter what, there would be people, you have support that would get you out of that well if you don't jump properly or if you don't do well. The thing with playoffs is cricket is 70% pressure, and playoffs bring that pressure. When you are trying to think that this bowler is bowling a certain length, I can get onto the pitch of the ball and just play right over the bowler's head because there is no fielder there and I can get a boundary. When you do not have pressure in your mind, you can easily do so and your hands coordinate with your mind perfectly. But what pressure brings into cricket is your mind starts telling you the things that you don't want to hear at that time. You get into double mind. Your hands do not coordinate. Your feet movement is not there. You start doing silly things. Your mind is telling you something else, but your hands are going somewhere else. That's what starts happening in games which are pressure cooker games. And teams like Brownstown, Knockers, and Pokeries, if they have won their last games, it's not because they are a better team than the teams that have lost. It's just that they might have handled those pressure situations a little better than the other team. But personally speaking, I after my game got over, I was watching Pokeries and Raptors. It was only pressure and no high skills as I would have expected in a game of Raptors and Pokeries. The cricket was pretty ordinary, to be honest, but pressure was there, yes. And I think at very less situations, I would say Pokeries have come better in a pressure situation. And I think that the pre-quarter against Raptors was one of the occasion. And I think Raptors lost to a team which was not there better on the day scale-wise, but yes, a little better in handling those crucial situations in last 4 or 5 overs.
So, see, the Raptors started this season as a big power hub. And what kind of message it gives this game, the result of this game? Any thoughts?
No.
Yeah, Jesse.
Go ahead. Yeah, to me, I watched that game live also for 5 to 7 overs, and I followed their scorecard also after the game. I'm really sorry and no offense, but they did not field at least a team, an 11, which can be called a powerhouse. In DCL, no matter if you have 11 hitters, you can't just win the game. You can maximum score 170, 180, but if you don't have bowling to back it up, you just can't win a game of cricket, and especially against a quality opposition like Pokeries. What message it gave to me is like a very poor team selection. Apart from Ronak Patel, I did not see even a single bowler who could and Vraj Patel, of course, who could apply pressure at crucial situations, who had raw pace. If you are a team that is a contender of winning the tournament, you have to have bowlers who are either specialists with T-ball format, they have raw pace. You have to have at least one of these things. Otherwise, you're just gonna struggle. I mean, an attack where 15 overs are being bowled by Navpreet, Parthiv, and Raj, I seriously feel for them. And their sixth bowling option was Rahul Chowji. He's a quality player, but I'm sorry, the DCL format in pre-quarters and against an opponent like Pokhari's, I mean, that's not a bowling lineup you go up with. I mean, they were having Kiran at the disposal, they were having Parag, they were having Saurabh. I know these are not express bowlers, but they are really, really good bowlers with T-ball, and that's what matters. And if you don't go with your bowling strength, no matter if they would have scored 115 also instead of 95, I think they would have still lost the game.
Yeah, even I got shell-shocked when I heard that Kiran was dropped from this match. He normally takes 1 or 2 wickets, early in the innings. Okay, any thoughts, KK?
Yes, Jagan, definitely. See, if you look at the Raptors lineup, after Raj Patel, Kiran is the one who bowled their maximum number of overs in the league stage. He bowled 32 overs, gave 98 runs at an economy of 3.06. And he has that variation where he can take the ball away. And Kiran not playing this game is an absolute blunder from the Raptors management. Maybe you had superstars in your team, but as Jesse mentioned, if you don't have bowlers, you can't win games, especially in DCL with this ball traveling like anything. And when you're playing a quality opponent like Pokhari's, you got to get their prime batsman out, and they'll just capitalize when they see their fourth and fifth bowler who can be easily scored upon, and that is what Pokhari's exactly did in this particular game. They saw off Raj Patel, they saw off their prime bowlers, both the prime bowlers, and the other 15 overs they just made a merry of it.
Okay, see, Imti, I want to point you. I want to ask you a different question with respect to this game, and everybody's saying Poker is quality opponent, but with Prasanna missing, and we don't have to talk about other players, and we have been talking about those guys for the past 2-3 sessions. I mean 2-3 episodes. So without Prasanna, probably this team might have thought. These are not quality opponents. Maybe that is the reason they have come with a team. I mean, they thought they can beat Pokhari's very easily. Do you agree with that one? Pre-assessment and post-assessment.
I don't think I'll agree to that statement that they might have undermined Pokhari's with the absence of Prasanna, but definitely that thought might have crossed their think tank when they were selecting the team. Maybe that factor came in where Prasanna was expected not to play this game, and they might have gone with the team that they selected for the game. But again, I don't think they would have undermined Pokhari's at any point, because we talked in the last show where we said Pokhari's, whenever they have made to the playoffs in that winning momentum, and they have always progressed through the knockouts very easily, like when they have won games in the momentum, like where they won the last game in this season also with a very good opponent, KRCC, and that bringing that momentum into the playoffs. I don't think Raptors would have undermined Pokhari's at any point. But again, looking at the scorecard, and also like Vamsi and Jasneet pointed out, I think it was more of a contest between bowling units of both the teams, where Pokhari's had the regular bowling unit that was playing throughout the season, and then on the other hand, I think Raptors kind of missed the trick with the bowling set. So that kind of made the difference. I think batting wise both were almost the same, but yeah, the bowling made the difference there.
Okay, and another important
point.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so another point I want to make here is that look at Pokhari's number 4 and number 5 bowlers. They bowled 5 maidens out of the 10 overs that they bowled. Then that is a major difference between these both teams. Their For Poker, their 4 and 5 bowlers gave a combined total of 33 runs in 10 overs. They took up 3 wickets and bowled 5 maidens there, and that did not let the Raptors pile on those heavy number of runs. And at the same time, when it comes to Poker's batting, as I mentioned during the last week, they are like the RCB of DCL, wherein they heavily bank upon Vignesh and Prasanna. And for them, Vignesh showed up in this game, and boy, what an innings that was! 45 of 50 balls when you are chasing down less than 100 runs. So that set up the game beautifully for Pokeris.
Yeah, see, I agree with that statement. When stars have to stand up, and Vignesh did that one, especially in a knockout game. And the second important game that we are going to discuss is in Indus Thunders versus Brownstone. Indus Thunders being defending champions, and everybody thought they are going to win this one very easily, especially looking at the game in the regular season between Indus Thunders and Brownstone. Indus Thunders dominated that game. See, Jesse said something about these guys, Raptors. They picked 11 guys. Those are not. It's not a quality team that can beat any quality of opponents. And based on, the billing of Power Hub, same thing goes with Indus Thunders. I don't think the 11 that played in this team for against Brownstone is not the best 11. That's what I feel. Okay. I'll start with KK this time. KK.
Yes, Jagan. Indus Thunders missed Manoj Singh big time in this game. And, because Manoj, in most of the playoff games, he bats and the rest of the team plays around him. Whereas Manoj Singh plays a key role in their batting unit. But in this game, none of the batsmen except Madhu and Srikanth stood up, and there are only 2 double-digit scores, and they got to a meager score of 81 in the end. Whereas 81 is very, very difficult to defend. Although it's a playoff game, you know that the ball is traveling. Even though you have to hit say 30 runs in the last 5 overs with wickets in hand, you can still do that. And Brownstone exactly did that. Their top 3 batsmen tried to play sensibly, and they scored those double digits, 13, 12 and 22, right? So that's where they got most of their runs. They already wiped out 60% of the score, and it all boiled down to one more batsman making those 10 plus runs, and that happened in this game. And although it went down right to the wire, where an Indus Thunders tried to put on the pressure, I would say they were just 1 ball away or 1 wicket away from the victory, but kudos to the way Brownstone handled that pressure and won it. Their number 10 batsman won the game for them in the last over, hitting a 6. So, how fancy can it get?
Yeah, I agree on that one. And Jesse, before talking about this one, there was one incident in Pokeris versus Raptors game. Pradeep Botta was given LBW of it was a bat pad. He was given LBW, and Pokeris captain Ravi, he called him back. So that's something rare to see in DCL, especially in a knockout game. Okay, with that, your thoughts on Thunders?
That was a nice gesture, and I was following that incident because it was happening right adjacent to the ground where I was playing, and there was a lot of drama, to be honest. The game was held up for 15-20 minutes, and everybody was into umpires' ears, and everyone was shouting and things like those. And but I'm glad in the end the right decision was made, because I actually followed that ball when Botta played that, and it was a clear bat pad. And in a rush of blood, I think umpire gave him out, but later he realized with the help of leg umpire's assistance that it was actually not out. And no matter it took 15 minutes or 20 minutes, the good part is that the right decision was made, and that was important. And coming to Indus Thunders versus Brownstown, to be honest, I feel for Indus Thunders. To me, if you ask me as a captain of a playoff team, which team you do not want to play, I would not say Knockers, I would not say Indus Thunders, I would not say any other team, Raptors, Pokeries, I would say Brownstown. I do not want to play Brownstown because they are and they have proved it a lot of times that they are a giant killer. What special they have is that they have personalities, they have individuals who might seem like pretty lazy when you have a normal game. They'll wake up at 8, show up in a game of 9 at 9:20 rather than 8:50, and just go there, deliver what they can to best of their abilities when on a given day. But if you mistake those individuals to be like that when it comes to a playoff game, you're doing a very non-experienced analysis against a team like Brownstown, because the individuals that they have, they are individuals who are driven by the situations that they face. And Brownstone is a team. Every now and then, the tougher the situation is, they become more tough. They become more rigid that we have to win it. They have, and to be honest, I've realized it firsthand in a couple of situations. There is no number 10, no number 11 in a team like Brownstown, because most of their matches are won when a team gets complacent, when an opposition gets complacent that now they won it convincingly, chasing 80 odd. A team is 30 for 6 or 30 for 7. They just cannot make a comeback from here. Then their last 3 guys, they'll just take the game to the far end, and then they see if they have a chance to win, because that's the situation where pressure is right on the bowler rather than the batsman to deliver. And that's when silly things starts happening. So anyone who is playing Brownstown, I think Indus Thunders were very unlucky that they, rather than finishing on top of the table, they still had to face Brownstown. And or I think they were not table toppers, but I would feel for them because they had to face Brownstown. And I think any other team, barring Knockers, I would say, if they would have played against any other team, I don't think they would have beaten. And the another piece to note here is Manoj Singh is injured. I think he has injured his finger or something. He has a split finger, so I don't think he was match fit to play.
No, he was match fit to play because he played a day before in Ford Cricket League finals.
Okay, but because on the game day, I met Azim. He said that he has injured his finger pretty badly.
Oh no.
And also adding to that, Jagan, I think the game that they played on Friday night, they won the Ford Cricket League, and I think maybe their celebrations went a little late into the night, and that might have also affected Indus Thunders' performance.
Celebrations went little late for Ford GT, okay, out of Saro, which is Raptors, okay. Mm-hmm. But I didn't find any players sitting there and enjoying other than Ravi Chalanti. Remaining all, they left right away. Okay, so...
but again, Jagan, your body is still sore, right, for the next game? That's the 9 o'clock start.
Played a day before, that too in the evening. Yeah, yes, I agree on that part.
And also, Jagan, I'll just add another point I recall from the 2016 playoffs between Brownstone and the Falcons. I was umpiring the game and I was talking to one of the Brownstone veteran players, and I asked him, how do you prepare for these playoff games? He said, there's nothing much we think about it. Nights we try to get at least 8 hours sleep so that your body is ready to play the next, give you 100%. This was the answer. And
who said that? Is it Mujahid?
It's not Mujahid for sure. I don't recall the name.
Okay, if you tell me the name, I'm going to ask him again in the next show. Okay. Yeah, your thoughts, Imti.
Yes, Jagan, I think this game was a perfect example of why teams like Brownstown are called giant killers again. Like they have proved in the previous seasons also, where if I'm not wrong, maybe the last season of the season before, they knocked out Knockers to enter the playoffs, like with a last ball 6 or something like that in one of the games. And
long ago with the Knockers, I think it's DL. DL is what taken the toll. But yeah,
I think the lights went off or something, and that was the last ball before the lights went off, something like that. That situation
exactly, there was a misfield from Knockers captain Sanoj, and that ended up giving winning run to them because of the DL method.
Yeah, so the point I was trying to make was like, I think you can never take Brownstone lightly. But like last week, I think almost everybody on the show, every analyst on the show was predicting that Indus Thunders would just make a cakewalk of this because of Brownstone's regular season. But I think Viju had a lot of faith in Brownstone, and looks like that came out true. But again, when we see Brownstone qualified in the last stages of the tournament, and I think they kind of picked the momentum, and they're a totally different team when it comes to playoff. Like Jesse said, I think playoffs is a different ball game altogether for Brownstone, where the regular games people kind of tend to take it a little casual, but come playoffs, like every member on the team, all 11 players, they kind of have a different motive, and they kind of put all their energy into the game and bring out the results. So I think like KK also mentioned, I think Indus Thunders kind of missed Manoj in this game, but again, like they would have selected the best available team at their disposal. So we really can't debate on that fact. But again, if you look at the game, it was more of nerves than the actual skill. If you look at this game also, I think winning a game in the last over with the last wicket, I think that talks volumes about how the team has maintained themselves through those nervous situations. So I think it was a great win for Brownstone, and hard luck to Indus Thunders.
Okay, the next game that we're going to talk is Knockers versus GLCC. GLCC unbeaten in the regular season, but these two teams played in a regular season where GLCC ended up winning in the last over, and they fought tight at the time. They fought tight this time, but only the only difference I see between these two is the superstars of the teams, they clicked for Knockers, whereas GLCC, that did not happen. That is the only reason I see why GLCC could not win. And I'll start with Jesse.
Yeah, I think this was a great contest between two heavyweights and two teams who were actually in form also. Though Knocker, to their liking, they did not have a season that they would have been proud of, that would have made everyone pretty confident. But as you said, they have real good match winners in Deepak, Arun, and Praveen, and I think all of them showed up why they are so respected in every opponent's minds, and because they can change the game on their head. But to be honest, I think Samish did a fantastic job in first architecting a plan and then asking his players to go there without fear and executing it. Because as far as I see, GLCC went off a brilliant start in the first 4 to 5 overs with Akash and Ronak. Both went against Arun and the other opening bowler, and I personally like this strategy against a team like Knockers, where Knockers team usually try to start with the folks who are good on their given day, but everyone knows that Deepak and Praveen are their best bets, and so until those guys come to bowl, you really have to start positive and put the pressure right on the Knockers captain and Knockers think tank that you have to bring your best right early into the game, and now we can play the waiting game, and now we can attack others because we have already accumulated a lot of runs that we can see Deepak and Praveen off. And I think they did their job absolutely great, but doing the hard thing right, and it doesn't mean you can take the other things for granted, the easier things for granted. And I think GLCC messed up after a brilliant start. I think there was a great opportunity for GLCC to just capitalize on the start that they have been given by the openers and score 135 to 150 runs, but rather they're ever so reliable Ajit, Roshan, and other folks in the middle order. I think they screwed up, and Deepak and Praveen had to deliver, because otherwise it would have been too late to respond. And I think uh, had it not been for Samish's brilliance with bat, I think, which is not the case always, GLCC was struggling even to put 85, 90 on the board. But I think Samish was brilliant, but uh, as fate would have it, he was the guy who leaked most runs when it came to the bowling, and I think that made a difference, because GLCC is a team where Samish and Pradeep, they are the most reliable bowlers along with Nalin, and I think with Samish giving away boundaries, it did not work in favor of GLCC. After the break, I think Samish and GLCC team would have been pretty confident that we can get it done. We can defend this total by applying pressure after taking quick wickets. But I think the Knockers captain Arun, as always, he's so reliable, especially when you are chasing. He just sticks to one end, and once he gets going, he plays those ones and twos pretty smartly, and gets the scoreboard ticking, which puts a lot of pressure on the score on the opponent. And with Praveen's and Deepak's firepower, I think they delivered the knockout punch also. And GLCC, I think, would be thinking pretty hard, and Samish in particular, that the plan that they went with, it worked initially, but I think they did not capitalize on the plan, and that really hurts. And hard luck GLCC, but I think they can have their head highs, because I think they gave a real fight to Knockers, and just one team can win, because when two quality opponents play, and I think in this case Knockers were a better team on a given day.
Okay, Imti, your thoughts?
Yes, Jagan. I think I would attribute this game, GLCC's loss, to middle order failure, because if I look at the scorecard, I see that they lost like 5 wickets in a span of 3 runs. Like Jesse mentioned, also they had a brilliant start for the first 5 overs, where they started off very nicely and with a good run rate, but then from 54 for 2 at one point, they dropped down to 57 for 7. So that's like 5 wickets in the span of 3 runs, and that kind of tells volume about the bowling lineup of Knockers, and also how Knockers like came back into the game with just a brilliant spell of 3 or 4 overs in that span. And if you look at the scorecard, I think even though GLCC made a comeback in the lower order, like thanks to Samish and Manish Khartare's partnership of 40 plus runs, I think at the end of the first innings, I think GLCC would have still been confident, because 106 in a playoff game, and with the quality of GLCC bowling, I think they might have had good hope of winning the game. But I think Knockers, on the other hand, I think they played it cool, and like Jesse was mentioning, I think Arun staying on one end while chasing, scoring those 29 runs, and like getting supporting hands from Rohit, Praveen Bangera, Ganesh. Ganesh is again a very reliable batsman. He's very less spoken of in that superstar team, but I think he's a very, very good batsman, and he's always reliable in that Knockers team, in the Knockers lineup. So, yeah, all in all, it was a good game. Even though the scorecards show that the game, the second innings lasted for almost 24 overs, I think Knockers had it under control for most part of the game. Like again, I think it was just that mishap in the middle order for GLCC that costed them the game, I think. So hard luck GLCC, and good luck to Knockers for the next game.
Okay, before I go to KK, I forgot to say at the beginning of the show that happy Ganesh Chaturthi to all the listeners of DCL Radio and all DCL community. And before I go to KK, I see somebody joined the show, 605-691-1867. May I know who's that?
This is Pana.
Hi, Pana. How are you?
Good. I thought of adding some of the inputs when the right time comes. Actually, I was waiting when you talk about the incident that happened between Brownstone and Indus Thunders. I actually want to give my inputs there. So I'm just waiting for the right time.
Okay. I'll give you opportunity right after this one. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But I think in the agenda you mentioned that for the incident, right? So I would like to give my inputs there, and even I was about to give the inputs when you talked about Ravina calling back the batsman, but Jesse gave the right point, so I just left it there.
Sorry, I just saw you, so that is the reason. Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah. KK, your thoughts?
Yes, Jagan. Before we start this game, right, I'd like to mention 2017, wherein Knockers were unbeaten throughout the league stage and they lost in the pre-quarters game. And the similar thing happened to GLCC this year. So that is one point I wanted to mention. And also going into this game, more than anything, GLCC is always reliant on their partnerships between their middle order batsmen, which did not happen in this game. And they lost wickets in bunches. Both their openers got dismissed within a couple of overs after they had a good partnership, and also their middle order lost wickets in bunches. 5 wickets for 3 runs, and also their tailenders. I would not call them tailenders, but the last 3 wickets they lost within a span of 1 run. So losing wickets in bunches. 2 wickets for 3 runs, then 5 wickets for 3 runs, and then 3 wickets for 1 run. That's what hurt them the most. But again, going to Knockers batting, I think Ganesh is a very underrated player in Knockers team, and I think he's the one who turned the game around. Especially they knew that Samish had a couple of overs left, but Nalin had 1 over left, and Ashraf Shah came to bowl the 22nd over. Ganesh took advantage of that. He scored 5 twos that gave them 10 runs, and once you get an over of 10 runs in the last stage of the game, that shifts the momentum towards you and it eases the pressure. Say if you need about 24 runs in 4 overs and you're already getting 10 runs in an over, that eases the pressure off, and that is what exactly happened in this game. And also GLCC did not play their entire quota of the innings. They were all out within the 24 overs, whereas the Knockers were able to play throughout and without losing many wickets. And when the right time came, they capitalized on that and they scored off those winning runs again. And my heart goes out to GLCC. They are unbeaten throughout the league stage, and losing your first knockout game is disheartening. But they should be proud of the way they performed throughout the league stage. And as Jesse mentioned, Arun is always a reliable player for Knockers, and so are Deepak and Praveen. Deepak and Praveen delivered that knockout punch, picking up 6 wickets within their 10 overs. And when it came to batting as well, both these individuals contributed, hitting 1-6 each for Knockers.
Okay. So the next games that I want to discuss are dominated by one teams. Like for example, the first one I want to talk is Warriors versus Dynamites, and Warriors completely dominated Dynamites, and it looked as if till last year Dynamites they used to their dream is to make it to playoffs. So just when they can, when they get the opportunity to beat a team and get into playoffs, they lose that game. Okay. But this time, they stepped into playoffs and they lost to Warriors. And Warriors literally a complete domination. And the other game that dominated is really most shocking one for me. FCC Agni completely dominated Falcons. Okay, these are the 2 games that I want to talk next. So, Pana wants to say something, and if you guys don't mind, we will take inputs from Pana and then straight away jump into the games. Is that okay with you guys? Okay. Pana.
Yes. The thing is, when I'm done with the Raptors and Poker's match, I just was watching Indus Thunders and Brownstone match, and while I was umpiring the Raptors and Poker's match, also I was looking at the events that was happening in that match. I was really like, if I was in the situation of Prashant Patil and Vamsi, who are doing umpiring there, I would have been felt very threatened. Being an umpire, see, nobody here are professional umpires. They could do wrong. At the end, they are actually coming there to do a service to the teams.
I agree.
The service, and they should be appreciated. They should be appreciated for the time they're spending, leaving their families, coming onto the field, and on the name of the cricket passion, they are doing this one. Everybody are doing the same thing, and the way they felt threatened, I was really, if I was there, in Prashant Patil's place, I would have called cops, definitely. That was serious situation was, and I implore to each and every team to show some respect to umpires. They're really professional people outside cricket. They do a lot of big jobs. They're respected in their professional life, and in the name of the cricket passion, they come here and they actually help us out. Everybody, each and everybody who are doing umpiring, not only those umpires, but everybody. They do a lot of service to get the cricket going here. And if you threaten a person like that, that is not at all good for our cricket. And I don't know whether that the guy who I saw, I'm talking about a different person here in the same Brownstown team. He actually, after they won the match, it was absolutely nail-biting match. But after winning the match, you should enjoy that victory. Instead, that person comes in the middle of the pitch. I know that guy. He's one of the senior guys in the Brownstown team. He comes in the middle of the pitch. He shows objectionable gestures to both the umpires and the opposite team, which is not at all needed. And the poor guys, those umpires, I felt so bad for them. And after winning so much, that nail-biting match, that is not at all needed. Going in the middle of the pitch. And unfortunately, Indus Sanders, I think a couple of players, they brought their wives, there were kids running around, and you're showing those things to those family members. It doesn't look good at all. If they see those things, gestures, I'm hoping they didn't see those gestures, but it doesn't. It's a family sport. We are in the weekend. We are actually sacrificing our time to come to field and play cricket, and sometimes some wives are really supportive, and they come and they actually enjoy the game, and it becomes a family sport. And you're doing those kind of things in the middle of the pitch. What kind of message we are being? This is a DCL community. This is a DCL family. That's how we take. Everyone should take like that. You should respect the sport. You should respect the feelings of the players, and at the end, you should respect your families. So I was really felt bad, and at that moment itself, I want to go and talk to the person, but somebody stopped me, really saying that it's none of my business. But I said no, it's my business, because I could be in that position. I was so impressed with Prashant Patil's patience there that he didn't take any aggressive action. So please, I implore all the teams, show some respect to the umpires.
I completely agree with you, and every player in this league has to feel like this is my league, and this is my family, and I should start treating this one as my own family. So there's no place for this kind of aggression in the field. And just because you said it, and I want to tell the listeners that from next game onwards, no player is allowed to enter into the field. They are suspended as soon as they enter the field. So umpires are given that power, and every match is going to have a match referee there, and they'll be noting down the names. and if they see anybody entering the field, they are out. Only water boy is allowed to walk into the field. Other than that, nobody can. So this is a message.
Jagan, to add to that, right, I think the committee did a fabulous job in putting up this rule, and also they made sure that this type of incidents will be dealt seriously. The person who threatened the umpire is suspended from the league for this year.
Something in the hands of a committee, and it's not appropriate for us to discuss here on the air, because still there are some things are going on within the committee, and and the people who are part of this incident. So in my opinion, it's not good to talk about that one here. Okay, as some what is that investigation going on, or some discussion is going on. Okay, and we will leave it here, the topic, and I request all the captains to convey to their teams that such behavior is not good for our league. Okay, we are here to enjoy the game, not to spoil anybody's afternoon or evening. Okay, with that, let's get into Warriors and Dynamite's game. I'll start with none other than Warriors captain Jesse.
Yeah, as everyone predicted, it was a tough game, and Dynamites are calling points. And this year they actually have a pretty good team. I'm not sure they were this good till last year. And I think the point that you mentioned, that they always wanted to qualify into the playoffs, and I think what I realized as an opponent is that there were a lot of nerves when they played this game, which I think could be because of the fact that they are first time playing a playoff game, and pressure starts to get into your head. You are not familiar to the situation, that how to deal it and things like those. And I think the most crucial aspect of the game was in that particular game was Dynamites dropping at least 5 to 6 easy chances and giving lives to almost every Warriors top 5 other than Ganesh. Ganesh was in a different zone on that particular day. He's the backbone of Warriors team, and he missed a few matches up front in the beginning of the season, but because he was in India. But since he came back, he again joined the team, and I think he played a blinder on that particular day. There wasn't anything that was thrown to him, and he did not have an answer. He was absolutely in a fantastic rhythm, and a batsman like him has to have a great rhythm to score. And he just capitalized on everything that was thrown to him. And apart from that, almost everyone gave easy chances, but Dynamite somehow kept dropping them, and that's why they were not able to seize the crucial moments, and that allowed Warriors to score in excess of 100. And I think once you cross 100, I'm not saying you can't lose a game, but you are actually have, I would say, 51% at least, because that's what I believe. You have an upper hand, no matter how good this ball is. But to chase in excess of 100 in a pressure game, I think it takes a lot of guts, and Warriors team capitalized and kept taking wickets at the regular intervals. Though Dynamite scored briskly and scored 40 runs in the power play, but I think they were done by some raw pace that Bhargav delivered on that particular day. I have not seen that guy bowled this better in last 2-3 years. He's actually bowling fire. To be honest, if I have to rate him today, he's right with Deepak's pace and accuracy with this season. I mean, I was really it was great and amusing to see Bhargav finally meeting his potential. He was always a class bowler, but with his accuracy, with the pace that he has, he just did not give anything to Dynamites and all their crucial players. Whenever they wanted to capitalize on a partnership of 8 to 10 runs, which was starting to threaten the Warriors team, Bhargav came into the attack and he just delivered wicket after wicket after wicket, and that broke the backbone of Dynamite's chase. And I think in this particular season, Dynamites was relying quite a lot on Sai in the fag end of the chases, especially. But I think since Warriors kept taking wickets of Dynamites, I think Dynamite skipper kept Sai a little too late to my liking, and he was sent in number 9 or number 10. But I think at at that time it was 55 needed of 7 overs, which needed an individual brilliance, and I think that put a lot of pressure on Sai's shoulders. And the first ball he faced was from Bhargav, because he was kept right for this situation, and I think Bhargav delivered the very first ball. He was caught behind, and the game was done there. So I think there were a lot of nerves, but on the skill side, I think if Dynamites would have taken chances, the match would have been a much closer game.
Okay, Imti.
Yeah, I completely agree with whatever Jesse said in this game, but obviously he was there in the ground to give us a good detailed analysis. But one thing I noticed from the scorecard of this game was I think it was more about temperament between the two teams, because if I look at Warrior scorecard, I see people staying out, the batsmen staying there on the wicket, scoring those ones and twos, gathering runs. At least I see 6 to 7 batsmen who are in double digits. And on the other hand, if I look at Dynamite scorecard, there is only one double-digit score, and probably Warriors getting wickets at regular intervals did not help their cause at any point. So if I just look at the scorecard, that is what I feel like, that the temperament was missing from Dynamite. Obviously, looking at a score of 100 plus while chasing in our pressure situation in the knockout game, absolutely a big ask for any team. But I think if they had started off cautiously, like saving the wickets, and I think they could have built on the chase, but unfortunately that didn't happen, and I think that's where they kind of lost the game. And also dropping the catches in the first innings did not help their cause while bowling first. So I think like all in all, I would say that the temperament was the difference between the two teams, and I would like to wish Warriors all the best for the next game.
KK.
I think Imti and Jesse summed it up brilliantly, and I have one ask of Jasneet. Jasneet opened the game in one of the league games, and he scored a half century, and I'd like to see him back more up the order, because he is one of the finest batsmen Warriors have, and your best batsman should play the maximum number of balls, so that going into the rest of the knockouts, that gives Warriors an upper hand.
Okay, Jesse is the captain. He can do whatever he wants. Okay.
Just again, it's a request from the fans.
Okay. Let me get into our next game. Probably I'll if Panna is interested, I want him to talk about this game, because he is a fan of FCC Agni versus Falcons. Panna.
Actually, I was right after my umpiring assignment, I was thinking of staying there and watch Agni's match, but I was called into another umpiring assignment. But in between, I was watching how the players played. As I said in my analysis in the last week's show, that Tejasvi, Sai, Narendra, everybody performed really well. They played up to their potential, and my man of the match for that match was Balaji. The way he actually took away a match from Falcons, the way he counter-attacked their bowling, that was really impressive. And if you see the Agni team, they have, as I said before, also they have all 11 batting team. It's all 11 batting team, so they can play in any situation. And the bowling is very, very good bowling. So they're a very serious team to consider this year. So I was really happy to see them performing well.
Okay. With that, I'll get into our next. Yeah. Anything to add, Pana?
Yes, Jagan.
KK, you want to add something?
Yes, Jagan. As Pana mentioned, Balaji played an aggressive innings in this game, and in the last 3 years, he has not hit a single six. In this game, he comes into the crease and hits those two maximums, and that's the difference between the score being below 100 and crossing the 100, and that gave FCC Agni an upper edge. Scoring 115 against a quality opponent like FCC Agni is really difficult, and the Falcons faltered all the way. Their middle order didn't click, their top order didn't click, and it was just a door shutting down for Falcons. My heart goes out to Falcons. They were in the top 6 of this league before this game, and now they're knocked out.
Okay, so we are almost at 10 o'clock, and we still have to talk about 2 games, and then quickly jump into our. So I'll extending the show by another 15 minutes. Sorry, guys. I apologize for that one, especially to our analysts who are, patiently sitting here. Okay. The next one is Detroit Bulls versus TCS Talents. Jesse, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think this game was about 2 individual brilliances, one from Shahnawaz and one from Neil. When one plays a blinder, other has to complement, and I think that exactly happened. But Shan with his aggressive mode and Neil being an accumulator, I think Shan just was a little better on the given day. And when I remember match starting almost the same time as our game started on the adjacent ground, and after I think 20 to 25 minutes, Shan came to our dugout and asked the score, and we started talking, and I said, "What's happening with your game?" And he said, "We guys are 65 for 1 or 2." I said, 65? Is it? I mean, did you guys start early? He said, "No, it's just 6 to 7 overs." And I was like, 6 to 7 overs, 65? So, and he said, "Yeah, I just scored a 50 and I got out." So that's the impact of a player like Shan has on big games. He loves the big stage. I think TCS Stallions to me is not a threatening team. It is a pretty mediocre team, but with individuals like Shan, they can upset anyone. I mean, when he gets going, it's really hard to stop them. That gives an extra edge to a team like Stallions that settle down the nerves, especially when you have a guy like Shan who can score up front. But I think they did not capitalize on a start given by Shan and bundle out for just 114 runs. And in reply, Bulls did not help themselves with the batting until it was Neil who has made a habit of scoring the most crucial runs, whether they bat first or they chase. I mean, he's a class act. If you want to tell someone how to play those elegant drives, how to cut, how to run hard between the wickets and be an accumulator, I think in this league it has to be Pradeep Bota and Neil. Both very, very sincere players, both understand the situation very well, and both most often score when it's needed the most. And that's the speciality of guys like Neil, and he actually made a match out of it. And unfortunately, he could not cross the line, and that's the reason TCS Stallions are playing the quarterfinals. Otherwise, that guy looked as if he was on a mission, and Bulls' hopes were there till the time he was playing, but it was not to be.
Okay, so unless you guys want to add anything, this one, I want to jump into the most important game that happened last weekend and which ended up being tie. Anybody wants to add? If not, I'll go directly to Imti. Okay, Imti, tell us what happened. Why you guys played with one less guy in a playoffs game?
Yes, Jagan. It was an unfortunate situation. We started off with the 11, but during the first innings, one of our players, Ketan, got injured while fielding, while actually taking a catch, and he had to rush to the hospital to get to get it attended, but and then after that he couldn't come back and join the game. So that's the reason why we played.
Before we get into the details of the game, how is he?
He's doing fine. Unfortunately, I think he might not play the next game, but he's doing fine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Please carry on.
So yeah, I think this game would have been a straightforward game for us. Like we bowled first and we restricted strikers to 56. Thanks to some brilliant bowling from Shreyans and other bowlers also chipping in with wickets at regular intervals, and we did have a very good outing with the bowling and got strikers out for 57, where we did not allow them to settle down or build any partnerships. And Kapil was the lone guy who had some answers to our bowling, and but unfortunately he didn't have support on the other end, so that ending up at 56. And then going halfway into the game, we were like pretty confident of chasing down the score, but then I think we made a meal out of the game. I think it was our game to make a mess of it, and I think at one point we were like 30 runs for one wicket at around 10 overs or 12 overs, and then from that stage we dropped down to like we lost all the available 9 wickets and tied. And I think it was more about pressure at that point, and maybe the fact that we are batting with a one batsman less, and that kind of we had to rejig the batting order a bit because of that. I'm not justifying the reason, but I'm just probably laying out might be the causes of what happened. Like I said, like we rejigging the batting order, and also the pressure getting on to us. And then I think strikers bowled brilliantly in the second half of the game after the innings break, and I think they came back brilliantly with some dot ball pressures, and then also getting some crucial wickets at crucial points. And I think Kapil bowled over where there were like only 3 runs required to win, and we had like 3 wickets in hand, and Kapil bowled this 1 over, a maiden with 2 wickets in that 1 over, and then at that point it was anybody's game. But luckily the last batsman survived that over, and we had to go to the next over where I scored the 2 runs and then got out on the next ball. And then like everybody saw, I think it was the first time in a knockout game where a tie happened and we went into the Super 5. So
and eventually you guys ended up winning.
Yes. Okay. The Super 5 over details, I don't think anybody had the chance to view it, but just to briefly lay out, strikers batted first in the Super 5 and they scored 28 runs, and Blazers chasing that scored those 29 runs in 3.5 overs. So thanks to brilliant batting again by Zishan, who has been turning out to be the cornerstone for our batting.
Okay, fantastic. Congratulations. And, see, at the start of the season, I thought there are 3 power hubs. One is defending champion Indus Thunder, second one is Raptors, and the third one is Gladiators. Gladiators is a mix of several teams, Okay, in fact, with all his mergers, Viju ended up, killing one of the legacy teams, like Lansing team, Bridges. Okay. So out of all these, I was thinking that 3 teams are guaranteed a spot in semi-finals. One is the power hubs, which I mentioned, including Gladiators, and 4th team can be anybody. That's what I thought. But to my surprise, everything else, all the other 2 power hubs died down, knocked out, and only power hub left is Gladiators. Okay. And if you look at this game, they dominated Legends. And just your thoughts. I want to get opinion from everybody for this game.
Yeah, I think as you rightly said, Gladiators is truly a powerhouse of a team. When you merge teams like Arsenal, Bridges, and Glads together, the result can't be any different. So it is just a formality to mention that they are one of the best team going around in this league in this particular year, especially. And I think I think a game against the same team played just a couple of weeks back also gave them an additional advantage, because once all the players in the Glads team are pretty experienced players. They're smart cricketers. Once they see the strengths and weaknesses of a team which they have played pretty recently, I think that more than Legends taking advantage of that experience, I think it had to be Gladiators taking advantage of that experience. And even if it would not have been the case, I think Glads was anytime favorite for this team. So I don't see any surprises into this match. When you have a player like Anup who on a given day can score the way he wants to, the area that he wants to, and anything he's a rhythm player. He has done it a number of times. He has not been the most successful with the T-ball, but as they say, you just can't keep someone like Anup too far and too much away from the game, from those crucial moments. And I think he seized the moment when they were chasing 80 odd, and Glass finish on a high, and their middle order did not have to even sweat, and they did it pretty easily, in my opinion.
Okay, KK.
Yes, Jagan. I think coming to this game, Legends missed the trick of playing their prime bowler, who was not playing this game, Srikanth, and also Legends had this problem with the runouts. Three of their batsmen, majorly their middle order, got run out, and Sudha is one of them. Sudha played brilliantly in the previous game. He scored 30 odd runs, and in this game he got run out. And similarly, their set batsman Abhinay got run out for 20, and that hurt them big time because Legends do not have superstars. They play with normal players, I would say, but their collective team effort is what got them all the way till playoffs. And in this game, those runouts and their prime bowler not being available hit them hard. And as you see, even in the Gladiators batting, they did not trouble the batsmen much. And it's the original Glads players, Amog and Vaibhav, who delivered in this game. But kudos to the way Legends through the tournament. First time entering DC and reaching out to the playoffs. It's a commendable job. Congrats Satish and the team. But again, Gladiators did phenomenal in this game. It was a one-sided affair, and now I think Gladiators has an easy path to enter the finals.
Okay, Imti.
Yes, Jagan, I think I agree with what KK said. I think it was more about experience in this game because Gladiators obviously have played playoffs before, and Legends playing the league for the first time, entering the playoffs, and I think they kind of had a little less of experience of the playoff situation here. But again, like they are a very good team. No team is I think a small team when you're talking about playoffs. They did make it to the playoffs, so obviously they have the quality and they have the skill level in the team. But I think this game, Gladiators had it under control for most of the game, and Legends, even though they tried accumulating runs against the Gladiators lineup, I think they kind of fell short by at least 30-40 runs because you need a score of 120, 125 plus for teams like Gladiators, who are a powerhouse in batting and also their bowling. I think if you look at the scorecards, I think they kind of missed out some of the players who started off well, missed out on those big scores, and they should have continued. And I think that is where they missed the trick. Once it was 86 to chase for Gladiators, I think it was a very a confident chase from them. Over their opening batsman Anup scoring 42 of those runs. I think that shows the confidence level and how they had the game in control. And the other thing is how quickly they scored those runs. In 15 overs they finished the game. So that was an aggressive approach from them, and I think that worked for them in the favor. And also announcing themselves after the other two powerhouses lost in the pre-quarters. I think Gladiators are making a very strong case for this season.
Okay, Pana, do you want to add anything here?
Pretty much everybody told whatever I have in my mind. So yeah, as everybody said, Glads is now in these 8 teams is the most powerful team. So probably they have a long way to go now.
Okay. Um, uh, with that, we will straight away jump into our predictions part. And here, because it is playoffs, you guys can give your opinions on strengths and weakness also, if you think you can. Okay. The first game of the night is Blazers versus Pokeries. I'll skip Blazers captain here. Remaining three can give their opinions. I'll start with KK.
Yes, Jagan. I think Imti has to come up with his best possible level, not miss any trick in order to go into this game. And because Blazers have performed brilliantly this season to come to the playoffs, and they have dominated oppositions at certain points, and also winning that super over also might have pushed their adrenaline high. And now they are going to face a similar opponent who made it to the playoffs right in time in the last game, Pokeries, and then in the previous game they had individual brilliance from Vignesh. So as long as they get Vignesh and Pokeri out and Prasanna out cheaply, I think Blazers should have this game. But let's see, let the best team win on the day.
Okay. Jesse.
Yeah, Jagan, I think in this game, Pokeries has an advantage over Blazers. Firstly, because Ketan is not playing, and secondly, because Pokeries is a team which has the habit of just living once. I mean, just living enough, just breathing enough to get it to the final line, and somehow not able to cross it. I don't see the reason why they haven't been able to so far, but they made it to playoffs in a dramatic fashion. They now made it to quarters in a dramatic fashion. When you win games like those, and that too consecutively, I think you learn a lot of things. You have momentum on your side. You know how to close the tight games, and I think in this game, logically, I would say Pokeries have an upper hand, but you just can't take a team lightly, especially a team like Blazers, where with their strength has always been bowling. And I think if they can make early inroads into Pokeries' top order, this game is wide open. And for that, I think Imti has to deliver along with Vimal. And I so wish Imti takes a fifer and makes this game a close one. But I'll pick Pokeries.
Okay, Pana.
And one more input, Jagan, to Imti here, of course. And I think Jishan should play a little up the odds in the top three, at number 4. Because he had delivered when he played at number 3. And I think he has to use him at the top of the order.
Okay, good. Pana.
The way Pokeries played last week, they were actually playing as a team. The way they complemented each other, that was the real strength for them in their victory. And if Pokeries can play the way same way, I think they can win easily. But for me, I'm thinking of picking Blazers this time because they are already a well-gelled team. They're well-gelled team. So, and if they can play up to the strength, Blazers will win. So my pick for this week will be Blazers.
Blazers. Okay, cool. Okay, let's get into next game. TCS Talents versus Knockers. I'll start with Imti.
I think this game will be a very closely contested game. I think for TCS Talents, Shahnawaz is the key here, and then for Knockers, I think from last game, I think if we see everybody chipped in and performed, I think it is more of a team effort there last game. So I would say it is slightly in favor of Knockers at this point because the entire team kind of came together and performed in the last game, whereas TCS Talents, it was a one-man show, Shahnawaz. So I think it will totally depend on how Shahnawaz excels in this game. So it would be my book would be Knockers.
Okay, Jesse.
Yeah, Imti said it is slightly in favor of Knockers. I would say it is hugely in favor of Knockers. until Shan decides to play out of his skin and score in excess of 60, 70 runs. That can only make the match out of it. Otherwise, I think on paper, I don't think TCS Stallions can beat Knockers, especially in a quarterfinals game.
Okay. KK.
I agree with both Imti and Jesse. Knockers are the favorites going into this game, but if TCS Stallions want to put up a fight, they have to play Megasai up the order. Megasai is not a number 10 batsman, unlike he played in the last game. He has to play up the order because he's one individual who will stick to his end, even though he doesn't give you quick runs. He maintains that strike rate of 50s or 60s. He's a left-hander. You have an advantage of getting those extras, and also he can chip those 1 to 2s on leg side, and he can put those. He can take advantage of those easy pickings, and the rest of the team can try to accumulate around the Megasai. So, in addition to Shanwaz and Jawad, I think Megasai is going to be the key in this game.
Okay, so who's your pick here?
I'm going to go with Knockers.
Knockers, okay. So everybody is saying Knockers as of now. Pana, how about you?
I think if you see the batting strengths of both teams, they're more or less equal. But if you take the bowling strength, Knockers are much better team compared to Stallions. So, and it will be a bowler's game. So, my pick will be Knockers.
Okay, so it's 4-0 Knockers then. Okay, the next one is FCC Agni versus Brownstone. I'll start with both FCC brothers here. I'll start with Pana. Pana, what do you? I mean, normally I don't ask FCC guys if they are playing, but anyhow, this is a sister team, so I'm sure you are going to pick FCC Agni, but I want to give you a chance, Pana.
See, the thing here is Agni has, if you take the bowling unit, they have same kind of variation what actually Brownstone has. So that is what Indus Thunders were lacking at the time at the end. And if you see last week's match, actually the slow bowler Pratap, he bowled really, really well against Brownstone. So that kind of variation actually Agni has in it. So batting strengths, both has power hitters. They can both has anchor role players. So the end point, the main point will be the bowling, and I see Agni has edge on that one. So my pick will be Agni.
Okay, KK.
I think the way Agni dominated the previous game, and all said and done, Brownstone won against Indus Thunders. They defeated the defending champions, but they almost faltered while chasing down a score of 80. And I think in this particular game, Agni has a slight advantage over Brownstone. So I'll go with Agni. And I have not been a great fan of Agni, but this year the way they are playing, and especially their ace all-rounder side, the way he's performing in league after league, winning those MVPs, I think he's going to be the major asset for Agni, and he's going to be the difference in the team.
So your pick is Agni. Jasneet.
Yeah. If I am given chance to witness any game out of this quarterfinals for schedule this week, I would pick this game. My reason would be I see two absolute opposite teams playing against each other. I mean, it's a North versus South contest, to be honest. It's North Pole, South Pole, both in terms of characters, strength of the team, and the individuals of the team, and everything. That's the beauty of DCL. I think it would be a great game to watch, and I think if at all FCC Agni players are able to shut their ears off with what Brownstone team has to say regarding each and every individual when they play, not getting into arguments, just focusing on the game to deliver, I think Agni has the potential to upset Brownstone. I would say it an upset because Brownstone has been the very, very experienced team for so many years in this particular format and this particular league. But I don't think Brownstone team I don't see Brownstown team letting it slip away that easily. They would do anything possible to make Agni guys do things which are a distraction from the game. Which and on the skill basis, I think I would say the all-round display of Agni with players like Sai and Madhu and Narendra and Balaji has an advantage. But I would give for experience to Brownstown. But it's a cracker of a game, to be honest.
Okay, you're giving it to Brownstown. Imti.
I think all of them covered the points where what the two teams composition would be like and the strength. Like this would be the closely contested game amongst the 4 quarterfinals. I agree with Jesse on that point. But again, it's a competition between a young team, a young all-round team versus an old all-round team, I would say. Because if you look at the Brownstown, also they have like batting until the last pair, and also Agni looks like they have batting power until their last batsman. So this is more of a battle between the all-rounders here, I would say. I think I think I will go with Brownstown, just for the fact that from the last game after winning in the last ball, and Agni, I'm not sure if they can put up a repeat performance after last week. That's the only reason I have.
Okay, with that, let's. So you picked Agni or Brownstone?
Brownstown.
Okay, so 2-2, and of course KK and Pana. After I expected their support to FCC, but yeah. The last game of the night is Gladiators versus Warriors, and definitely I'm not going to ask Jesse. Remaining 3, yes, you guys can predict what's going to happen this one. And in my opinion, I'm expecting this one to be a cracker of the game, and I want to see Jesse showing off those hitting capabilities in this one. With that, Imti.
I'm pretty sure after KK's advice, Jasneet, if getting a chance to bat first, I think he will definitely go up the order in this contest. I'm pretty sure he likes challenges, and then there is no better opportunity than facing Glads. If you look at this game, I think Glads has an upper hand on the paper. But again, if there is any team that can beat Glads, I think it is Warriors. That being said, just looking at the entire season and how the teams have progressed into the playoffs, I think this will be a very close contest. Just based on the paper strength, I would give it to Gladiators.
Okay, KK.
So Jagan, if you ask me to pick one game out of these 4 which I want to witness, this will be the game. So 2 teams with brilliant individuals, and I think out of the 4 games, if you want to witness the maximum number of individuals with brilliance, I think this will be the game. In Warriors, you have individuals starting with their skipper, Jasneet and Bhargav Elchuri, Jashwant, Dhruv Parmar. It'll be fantabulous to watch this game, and they are playing against Gladiators, having Arjun, Ronak, and Aditya, Sudhir Kumar Paka. So this will be one brilliant game, but it's really hard to pick one team here. And I think it's the first time in a very long time I'm not able to pick a team.
So you don't want to pick anybody?
I'm not able to. It's a 50-50.
Okay, Pana.
Okay, so if you take both teams have big game players. Class as Arjun, Amog, Vaibhav, Satya, all are big game players. Even Sudhir, everybody are big game players. And if you take Warriors, Jasneet, he can change match anytime. And my favorite Omkar, he can play any role in the team. Then we have Jashwant, Bagi, Dhruv, and the unsung hero every time, Ganesh. So all these players, these are all big game players. They're so the team who that can hold the nerve on the particular day, that can win the match on that day. So for me, my pick will be Warriors on the day because of their playing in the pressure matches, their ability to play in the pressure matches. So I think we'll be Warriors.
You're picking Warrior. Okay, we will see what is going to happen on Saturday, and I'm sure a lot of people will come there to watch these games. And I'll conclude this show with the last words from all our analysts. I'll start with the Jesse.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic season till now, and I think the competition is getting tougher every year. And now into this particular season, there have been a lot of upsets to many people, opinions that have already happened, and we still have 4 exciting contests this weekend, and then 3 remaining big matches in the coming weekend. So stay tuned, and I would urge every fan and every follower of DCL who can manage to be on the ground and cheer their favorite team and witness some exciting performances.
Empty.
Yes, Jagan. I would like to end the show on a note saying that I wish all the teams good luck who are playing the quarterfinals this weekend, and I hope all the teams respect the umpires on the ground. And I just want to make sure that umpires also take their own time, if any of them are listening, take their own time in giving the decision. These are crucial games, and I need not remind anybody, but again, like just a pointer here. I wish all the teams good luck, and I would like to thank all our listeners for staying up late and listening to the show and giving us support throughout the season. I hope we see a very good crowd for the quarterfinals also. Good luck to all the teams, and good night.
Okay. KK is not here, I think, and we'll go to Pana. Yeah.
Yes, I'm on. Yeah. So first of all, to the teams which are playing at quarterfinals, I wish them very good luck, and please don't be offended with the picks that we made. It's just a prediction. It's nothing personal there. I wish really good luck for everybody, and as Imtiaz said, please respect umpires, and umpires, please take your time making your decisions. And what I actually last week I picked between Pokeries and Raptors. I picked Raptors, and one of the Pokeries guy, he actually at the start of the match he asked me like, you picked Raptors, and I said that I like surprises, and they actually gave me a surprise. So I hope so. That's how sporty they took, and that's how sporty I took with my prediction also. So please don't be offended with our predictions. And I really wish everybody good luck, and I hope to see all the teams that are not playing in the ground and cheer up the cricket, and let's make this a very good quarterfinals weekend.
Okay, with that we will conclude tonight's show here, and happy Ganesh Chaturthi to all DCL families once again, and good night. Keep listening DCL Radio.